Hey coin collectors, it's DC on the Big D, and this is the 1938 Washington quarter from the United States of America. George Washington facing to the left, says liberty above his head and God we trust under his chin in 1938 here. And you look at this and you say, that's not a very good looking quarter. This actually is a pretty good quarter. And there's a couple of reasons. It has some value to it. Minimum value is probably $5. And that's because they didn't make many in 1938 at either of the two mints. And guess what the two mints were in 1938? Well, there was the Philadelphia Mint, which of course has no mint mark, and it's kind of dirty down here, but still no mint mark. And there was the San Francisco Mint. So in 1938, the Denver Mint did not make any. They just vanished for the year. They just didn't make them. Not sure why, not sure how that happened, and it didn't happen in any other years, but in 1938, they did not make any. So it's a San Francisco Mint in 1938. They made $2.8 million. This is, you can get this in a pretty good condition. And remember, that's not going to be a proof coin in 1938. Although they did have proof coins. The proof coins in 1938 came from the Philadelphia Mint. So you get one that's really shiny. It may be a Philadelphia Mint coin. They only made about 8,000 proof coins at Philadelphia in 1938 though. So if you're looking for one of those, you're probably going to have a hard time finding them. But if you can find a Philadelphia Mint coin from 1938, anything MS-67 or over, you're going to be starting to talk about real money. At the MS-68 level, it's going to be worth 15 to 18,000. What would you need to see an MS-68? Well, you see it says United States of America on the top here, E pluribus unum here. You'd have to get all the unum, not just the... You'd have to be able to see some feathers in the neck here. This is a really good beak and a really good eye, but you'd have to see that line that comes down between the eye and the end of the beak. You'd have to see this tuft behind the head a little bit better. You'd have to see body feathers. You'd have to see really a much better definition of these feathers. There's actually tail feathers that come down below the arrows. So this is an eagle on the back, a war eagle sometimes they call it, holding feathered arrows with a ribbon around the arrows. There's kind of this X-like ribbon. And down below the arrows, you can see its tail feathers, but in this one you really can't. Way down here, this is going to be olive branch, olive wreath kind of tied, and way at the bottom it's going to say $quarter. If you tip it up on its edge, you're going to see that it is silver, 90% silver, hence the worth at least $5, just because it has almost $5 worth of silver in it. But if you can get the Philadelphia version up even to an extra fine 40, you're talking about $25 to $40. And if you can get it up to a mint state 65, you're starting to talk somewhere around $200 to $300 minimum. The proof coins, on the other hand, at a proof 65, it's probably worth about $165. So the proof coins aren't worth as much, and you can tell the difference, and if you can't, the dealer can. So make sure you check before you decide that you have thousands of dollars worth of 1938, when what you really have is a proof coin that's worth about $150 to $200. What about the San Francisco Mint coins? Well, at the very fine level, it's worth 11. Extra fine, 20 to 40. And if you get up to mint state 65, you're talking about 120. For some reason, the San Francisco Mint coins are not quite as expensive because they have plenty of really good shaped ones, but they don't have anything over an MS-67. And MS, of course, is mint state. And PCGS says mint state 67 plus is as high as you can get one of these right now, as far as they've seen, and those are worth between $2,000 and $5,000. So no Denvers, so that one is invaluable, I guess you could say, or valueless, I think would be a better term, because there aren't any. There is one other year which they didn't make any Denver Mint quarters, and that was 1933. But remember, in 1933 they didn't make any quarters at all. And there's a kind of an interesting year where they made quarters, but they didn't have a year for them, and that's 1975. So in 1975, they made the bicentennial quarters. But they didn't put 1975 on them. They put 1776 to 1976 on them. So there are some quarters that were made in 1975 So that's really not a year they didn't make them. So 1933, they didn't make any quarters of any kind. In 1938, they didn't make any Denver Mint quarters. Now, if you want to try to find one, the best way to find one is to look these days is really to look on eBay. And if you want to find out how many they have of the quarters, the website is called pcgs.com. pcgs.com. There's also, and that's a professional coin grading service, and that's how you can look up the coins. There's also another great grading service called NGC, and NGC.com has a bunch of coins on it too, and they grade the coins also. So look at PCGS or NGC for your coin gradings. And if you ever want to buy a real expensive one from a dealer, make sure you look it up and check it out, and also make sure it's certified by one of the 3 certifying coin agencies. All right, well, that's all we have today from the Big D Coin Channel. This is DC saying we'd love to have you subscribe to the Big D Coin Channel and leave any comments you might have in the comments section.